The thing with having multiple passions and interests is that it can leave you in a state of paralysis where you are just crippled because you have so many ideas running through your mind. And at the end of the day, instead of taking action, you find that you are crippled. So it becomes counterproductive because you're not moving forward because you have so many ideas, yet you're not actioning those ideas. Now, I used to look at this as a disadvantage because this is exactly the way my brain works. I'm a doctor, I'm a content creator on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and my content creator personalities across all platforms is completely different. If you follow me on YouTube, if you follow me on Instagram, if you follow me on TikTok, you would know this because I create completely different content across all platforms. And this again is because of how my mind works. I'm also a public speaker. I love to share my knowledge with people. I love to give talks to people. I love to educate. I'm a wife and I'm a mother. And because of all these things, it usually leaves me in a state of paralysis. This is something that I really wanted to discuss because over the past year, where I was on maternity leave with my second child, I had been doing some introspection and I'd come to the conclusion and the realization that it is okay to be different. It is completely okay to be different. You must not be the same as everybody. Your path must not be linear like everybody. It is completely okay to be different. And I decided to put some things in place to kind of help me organize myself a bit better. And I just wanted to share these things with you because I know that there's 1, 2, 3 people out there who are also struggling in some way, shape, or form with that battle, that creative battle, being a woman of multiple passions. They're struggling with it in their mind. So that is basically what we're going to be talking about in this video. It's okay to be a human being with multiple passions. How are you going to sort it out? Let's find out. You can imagine that as the doctor, most people are usually shocked to find out that I have a whole different personality online. More shocking is my different personalities across different social media platforms. Most people just expect you to go to university, get a job, get into residency training, become a surgeon or a medical physician, whatever the case may be, and just keep it moving in that direction. But I can't lie to you, ever since I've seen or envisioned myself as an adult, I never envisioned myself in that linear pathway. It just wasn't me. The world is quite linear, but from the get-go, I just knew that my mind wasn't linear. So the first thing I did was just to recognize that and get a deeper understanding of the things that I actually like and things that I actually want from life, like my expectations from life. Because at the end of the day, everybody has their different lives to live, and you only get your one life to live. So you can't let people's expectations dictate what your outcome would be. Because at the end of the day, there's nobody who is going to live with the consequences of whatever decisions that you make except you. You are the one who's going to make those decisions, and you're the one who's going to live with those decisions. So you have to be comfortable enough to live with the consequences of whatever decision or choices that you make. So the first thing I did was to come to the realization that my growth may not be like my friends or my colleagues. Reason being that I have too many interests and I've spread myself thin across all these interests. I want you to think about it this way. If someone is hyper focused on just one thing, of course they're going to get better results because they're hyper focused on that one thing versus somebody who is hyper focused on 3 different things. Because their attention is spread across 3 different things, they are going to get eventually to where they're going to, just might be a little bit slower because now their attention is having to be split across 3 different things. each point of view has its advantages and its disadvantages. The advantage of, being that person who is linear is that you will most likely get to where you're going to a bit faster than somebody who isn't linear. And with you who isn't linear, you will develop mastery and skills across different things such that you know the nuances of a different topics of your interest, whether that be painting. If somebody's having a conversation about painting, you're not blank. You can put something valuable in that conversation. If somebody's having a conversation about cooking, you're not blank. You can give some sort of value in that conversation. And at the end of the day, you will eventually get to where you're going to. It's just you might not get there at the expected time that society is dictating for you. Because let's be honest, who puts these expectations on anybody except society? And the earlier you realize this and the earlier you come to terms with it and the earlier you accept it, the better for you, because at the end of the day, that is the easiest way for you to find peace and just make peace with yourself. Understand that putting yourself and spreading yourself across 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 different interests will make you proficient in those things, but you may not get to the expected top as quick as some of your other colleagues might be getting. Now, because you have come to that realization, you need to also then make this realization work to your advantage. So you then need to get deeper and get a better understanding of these things that you're doing so that if you are actually having conversations with people about the subject, you don't appear clueless. You don't appear like a jack of all trades and a master of none, because you are just doing everything and you're appearing like you've got ADHD. You're never actually finishing any of the tasks. You're just jumping everywhere. You have to actually bring yourself, center yourself, and understand, pick one or two things. Understand that you have to actually pay attention to these things so you have a deeper understanding and a deeper dive of what these subject matter is about, so that you can actually grow a bit in those ones, and then you can extend that to other parts of your life. For example, I've always spoken about how I wanted to be a content creator. And obviously, if you work a busy job, then you understand that being a professional, a doctor, lawyer, whatever the case may be, student even, and working a job as demanding as content doesn't really mix many times. Something has to give. So pick maybe one or two platforms instead of trying to split yourself across all the different platforms that exist, because you're not a full-time content creator. You're simply not. Somebody who is a full-time content creator can decide to split themselves across Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, Snapchat, 5 different platforms, but you have also still got work to do. You've got children to care for, so you can't split yourself across those 5 platforms in that same direction. So it wouldn't make sense for you to then be comparing yourself to that person, because your reality is just simply not the same. So maybe pick one or two and zone in on those ones so that you can be able to manage it a little bit better with your other tasks in your life. For example, your day job, for example, your children, your marriage, your husband, your family. You can be able to get a better blend. I hope that makes a bit more sense to you. While we're talking about honing in and zoning in on these things, it's important to also start to see the synergy between your different interests. They may look very, very disjointed, but then the onus is on you to marry everything together. So myself, for example, I'm a doctor and I'm a content creator. I'm also a wife and I'm a mom. Now, I'm a public speaker as well. And to look at the synergy in all these things, the thing that stands out to me is that as a doctor, a content creator, a public speaker, I am in a place of authority. So when I say something, people will most likely take what I say a bit more seriously than if somebody else who wasn't a doctor or who didn't have this unfair advantage of being viewed as somebody who is knowledgeable and, skilled and experienced says the exact same thing. I hope that that makes sense to you. So understand the synergy in these things and use them to your advantage. Like Ali Abdal says, and he's somebody that I really look up to and one of my mentors in the social media space. He says, find your unfair advantage and use your unfair advantage. Let that unfair advantage become your whole personality, if it will. But do not dim that unfair advantage, because that is definitely what makes you unique, what makes you special. In his case, he was a medical student at Cambridge and he was also a content creator. So that was an unfair advantage because he then started to make videos trying to teach young people who are trying to get into Cambridge Medical School how to do that. And that was a very niche area. And because of that, it helped him to grow his platform, helped him to become who he is, such that he was then able to pivot as his life evolved and as his interests changed. Same thing with me being a doctor and a content creator. It is quite niche, but at the end of the day, my presence on social media has changed my life so dramatically that if I deemed any part of my life or if I didn't find that synergy, I wouldn't have been able to harness the benefits of the synergy that these seemingly disjointed areas of my life have in common. It is also really important to stop ignoring your signs of interest. Before I eventually bit the bull by the horn and decided to plunge into the world of content creation, I used to watch videos on YouTube for donkey years, watch people on Snapchat for donkey years and think to myself, oh, I want to be just like that. I want to do just what they're doing. I see myself in that position doing what they're doing, but I just never acted on it. And I cannot say this enough. It is important for you to stop ignoring your signs of interest. When you see something that you like, go for it, because time waits for no man. And this is really, really important. Good things come to those who take action. You have to be audacious. You have to be bold. You have to actually take action. It doesn't come to those who deserve it, but it comes to those who go after it. If you see something that you want, go after it, chase it down, or hunt it. Because if you don't, someone else is going to come and take it. Someone else is going to come and do it. Someone else, when you have an idea and you think to yourself, oh, this idea is so grand, best believe other people have that idea as well. And if you don't act on the idea, somebody else is going to execute the idea. And then you see that idea being executed and you think, I should have done that, I should have done that. But did you? You didn't. So stop ignoring your signs of interest. When you see something that you want, just go for it. When you get a golden idea, act on it. Don't sit on it. Don't overthink it. Just do it. And finally, and most importantly, is to surround yourself with people who have similar interests as you, who understand the way your mind works. Because what happens is that when you start to surround yourself with mostly people who are linear, then you start to see yourself as a problem. Then you start to see the way your mind works as a disadvantage, but it is in fact your superpower. So it's important to build a community where people around you have similar interests. Their minds are, their minds are, their imagination is wild. They can conceive a wide range of thoughts. They can conceive a wide range of ideas. It is important to surround yourself with those people because you will find that you will feel so liberated. You will feel so free. You would feel like, yes, I'm finally at home. And you'll be able to fully express yourself, whatever these interests are. I'm not saying that it has to be content creation. I'm not. You could be a dancer who likes to code. It's really different, but there could be similarities that are nuanced that only you can identify, which is why it's so important to surround yourself with a community that is going to pour into you so that you don't end up feeling so drained and feeling like, oh my God, I'm just wasting my time. Why do I not just go get a regular job and just do what everyone else is doing? Do I not just, act in the way that the world wants me to act? Why is my brain telling me to do something else instead? You know, find that community. It's super important and I cannot overemphasize it enough. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I really do hope you enjoyed the video. Please don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye, guys.